For story time today, we have a story about a little boy called Samuel and a guy called Eli called Who Said That? But first of all, I'm going to call up Dave to join me to help with this story. So, Dave, I'm calling you. Dave! Hello! I can see your mouth moving, but I can't hear you. What are you doing? You got some technical problems.
You're right.
Ah, voila.
We're here.
Yay. Hiya, how you doing?
I'm all right.
Thank you for joining us. Are you ready for the story?
As always are.
So the story is about a little boy called Samuel and a guy called Eli. And it's called Who Said That?
You are.
I said, who said that?
Pardon?
Pardon, what do you mean? Who said that?
What?
We're going to be here forever. I best get on with the story, shouldn't I? So it's this little boy called Samuel, right, lived with Eli. They had their own separate rooms, then lived near the temple because they were both, he was training up to be a priest. He was learning.
What's a temple?
It's like a church, like a place where you go to worship God.
All right.
Yeah. And so one night, just this one particular night, Samuel had gone to bed. Eli had gone to bed. What's your question?
Why is Samuel only going to bed for one night?
He'd
be tired if he only went once.
No,
I'll go to bed every night.
They go to
like one time.
Yeah, they go to bed every night. But this particular night, I want to tell you about. Yeah.
Okay.
Happy with that? Okay. So one night,
I'm just saying he'd be tired.
Samuel went to sleep like he normally goes to sleep every night, and Eli was in his room, and Samuel was in his room, and God said, "Samuel," like that.
That's cool. That.
Yeah. And Samuel got up, but he didn't know God. God never spoken to him before. So he went straight to Eli. He says, yeah, what do you want? I'm here. You called me.
Connor, you right, how am you?
Something like that.
That kind of thing.
Could translate it, into your language. Absolutely.
Hello, how are you?
So Eli says, no, I didn't call you.
I don't do posh.
No, he said, I didn't call you. And he said to Samuel, go back to bed. I
like that bit.
Yeah, go back to bed.
I like my bed.
Have you been woken up in the middle of the night?
Yes.
Have you? Who's woken you up?
Thunder and lightning. It was very, very frightening.
Yeah, it does wake you up, that, doesn't it? Well, this wasn't as bad as that. It was just literally Samuel saying, Eli, I'm here. Did you call me? I don't know if he had to shake him or anything. Just spoke to him and he woke him up. Anyway.
Think he had a dog?
It doesn't say that.
Or a gerbil?
No pets here.
Don't mind me a gerbil.
Okay, well, anyway, Samuel goes back to bed because he's very obedient.
Not to eat, just saying, to play with.
Good. Brilliant. I'm glad to hear that. So he goes back to bed, Samuel, and Eli go, and they go back to sleep. And then God calls Samuel a second time.
You're right.
No, he says Samuel. He calls him by his name.
How am you?
And Samuel thinks...
pretending to be God.
Okay. And Samuel says, goes back to Eli again and says, did you call me? I'm here. And Eli
Was
says...
Eli annoyed?
No, he doesn't sound annoyed. He's a very patient man. He was a priest.
He'd have to be. Someone woke me up twice in the night.
You wouldn't be very happy.
That wouldn't be good.
Well, how would you respond? No, don't tell me. Don't tell me.
We'll keep it PG rated.
Yes. So Samuel was very good. He did what he's told. He went back to bed just like Eli had told him. And then God spoke to Samuel a third time.
You're right. How am you?
3 times
I'm getting into
now.
character.
Oh, I mean, you're getting into character, are you? Again, Samuel, because he's never heard God's voice before, and God hadn't been speaking for a long time to the priests or anybody during this time. So Samuel had no experience or understanding of how God speaks.
Did God put the people in a timeout?
Yeah, that's a really good one, that, Dave. I think they were, because they'd been a bit naughty. See, Eli's sons had been very naughty. They'd been bullying all the other children, and they'd been staying up late at night and playing loud music and all kinds of naughty things.
Because they didn't have a dog.
Yeah, maybe, a dog would keep them in order. But you see, Eli was the dad, and he wasn't doing it. God told him off. He says, you've got to be a good parent, but he wouldn't listen.
That's not good, that.
It's not good. So Samuel, he's a good lad. He's very young. And so he goes back to sleep, does what Eli tells him. And a third time, God says, Samuel.
You're right. How am you?
Well, you see, again, Samuel thought it was Eli calling. So
Just getting into my character again.
No. He went straight back to Eli and he woke Eli up again on the third time and says, "Oh, I'm here. You called me."
You see, now, if I was that Eli, I wouldn't be happy now.
No, not a third time.
I have to have my beauty sleep.
Your dog naps.
Oh, very important.
It is, actually. Sleep is very important. And
I have to have a sleep, then a nap.
It's not nice.
Get over me sleep.
It's not nice being woken up,
I have to have a nap before my dinner.
Before your dinner.
And then a nap afterwards.
How many naps do you have?
I can't count beyond 3.
All right. So, okay, maybe 3. So Eli told Samuel to go back to bed on a third time. And Samuel was very obedient.
2, 3.
Yay. But you know what? He fell back to sleep and he got woken up again by God saying, "Samuel, Samuel."
You're right, how am you?
And yeah, well, Samuel didn't answer because he
what
didn't.
God said?
Well, he didn't know it was God. He just called his name initially. So Samuel thought it was Eli a third time, and went back to Eli. And Eli said, "Ah," and he realised it was
he
God.
In pain?
No, he just realised he had a light bulb moment and realised that Samuel was hearing from God. And so Eli said, "Right, son."
Do you think Eli should have put his hearing aid in?
No, he was going a bit blind, not deaf. He was old.
Pardon?
He wasn't deaf.
Pardon?
So he told Samuel to go back to bed and listen out for God and listen to what God said and do what God tells him. So Samuel was obedient, went back to bed, and God had a nice chat with Samuel about what he needed to tell him.
That's fab, that.
It's great, but the only thing was, do you know what he told Samuel?
You see, we're here again. You're asking me about the story and I don't know the story.
Well, I mean, the thing was, he said stuff about Eli.
That's nice.
Well, you'd think so, but it wasn't good because he'd been a bad parent, remember? And he hadn't told his sons off.
This is another scary
So
story.
there was like punishment ahead. There was, he had to discipline Eli. So poor old Samuel, who's really young.
Is this another scary story?
No, not really. No, Samuel was a good lad. And he did exactly what God told him. So when he got up the next morning, Eli says, "All right, then, what's God said?" And Samuel was a bit nervous because he thought, "Oh, no, it's not good news. It's not good. I've got to tell him something that Eli's got to sort his life out and it's not going to go well for him." And Eli says, "If you don't tell me, you'll be in big trouble." And so Samuel was obedient again and he told him.
Think Eli was grumpy from a lack of sleep? I'd have been.
Yeah, that might have had something to do with it.
3 times in the night.
Yeah. But Samuel told him that there was some bad times ahead for poor old Eli and his sons because
ain't good.
They'd been very naughty. Because of course, people who are naughty have to, they have to pay the consequences, don't they? They have to be told off. You can't go around otherwise. It'd be chaos, wouldn't it?
My mate Bert's still paying me off for that computer he broke.
He's paying you off for your computer, is he?
He broke it.
Oh dear. So yeah, they had to be disciplined.
I'm not sure what he thought the breadstick was going to do.
Oh, what did he do with the breadstick?
Don't want to tell you. He's still paying me for the damage, let's say that.
Oh, you don't want to get crumbs on your computer, do you? No, so Eli was told through Samuel that there were some bad times ahead. And
he said he wanted to use it instead of a mouse.
Ah. So what did you think of that story, Dave?
And then he tried to use a real mouse. And the mouse got a bit upset. And then the computer broke.
There were no mice harmed in the making of this story.
Well, no.
No. So what did you think of that story, Dave? All about little Samuel and big Eli.
Was Eli a big man, was he?
Well, yeah, he was very fat. Actually, when you read on, he's got very big.
You can't say that.
It's true. If you read on in the book, it tells you he's got really quite big. Because he's sort of not been doing a lot of exercise. Do you do a lot of exercise to keep fit?
Yes, I go to the park.
Do you?
Have a run around.
Do you fetch sticks?
Stick.
You like sticks?
That's rude, that.
So, what do you think of Samuel?
Nice lad.
Nice lad, isn't he? Good lad. He needs some sleep.
Probably got a dog.
So you
he was obedient.
I was thinking, you like sleep. Where do you sleep then? Have you got like a basket, like a dog basket or a box or
Where do you think I sleep?
I don't know. I was just wondering. I thought dogs slept in like boxes or baskets.
I have a dog basket.
You have a dog basket?
In my kennel.
In your kennel.
In my lounge.
Excellent. Well, I think you probably need a nap now, don't you? So
Yes.
you go off for your nap.
Oh.
All right. Thanks, Dave. I'll see you soon.
Ta-ra a bit.
Ta-ra a bit. Bye. And that was story time.